From there, not too long ago, something happened in your life that just, took you back a few steps.
Hmm.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I was on tour and I was coming back home. I was about halfway home, and my wife calls me and tells me, Bobby, you need to come home as fast as you can. And I'm like, why? Something wrong? And she says, no, you just need to come home. And I'm like, well, why? What's happening? And she tells me on the phone, she says, well, I've had this woman call me, and she's claiming to be your mother. And at that point, I just kind of went, hmm. I knew. I knew right away that I was adopted. I knew it my whole life.
Were you told, or did you just kind of have that
I
feeling?
had that feeling. I had that feeling, and there's a lot of people that have been adopted. They tell me the same thing, that they just had that feeling their whole life.
Did you ever question it? Did you ever question
I
your mom or
did.
dad?
I did. I had asked when I was young. I was probably like 8 years old, 9 years old. I had a bunch of kids at school. They teased me about it because they would always tell me, "You don't look anything like your brother. You don't look anything like your sisters." And I'm like, and I'll never forget it because I went and I asked my mom. I said, "Mom," I said, "everybody's saying that I don't look anything like my brothers and sisters. Am I adopted?" My mom goes, "No, no, no, no. You're not adopted, honey. No, 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 no. You're mine." So I just kind of let it be. But I knew deep down inside, you could feel it, that it didn't feel right. There was something there that you could just feel. Not that I didn't love my parents that raised me, um, but you could just feel it. There's a blood thing there that you can feel, that it just doesn't feel right. So I knew when I got that when my wife got that phone call and she told me that, I told her on the phone, I said, I'm adopted, ain't I? And she goes, you just need to come home. So I came home. I called my so to be mom and got on the phone with her, and she was claiming to be my real mom. And then we kept talking on the phone for a few more weeks, and just try to get to know each other better. And then I called my parents too, and told them what had happened, because the whole thing is everybody was trying to keep it a secret. They didn't want to ruin what I had going here in Nashville, and they didn't want that to interfere with my life, from going forward. So that's why a lot of it they didn't want to tell me. But there were still a lot of other secrets that were going in there. I was 40 years old when I found out.
Did you feel betrayed from your parents, or were you upset? Were you,
Yeah, I mean, I felt betrayed. I felt I was upset because I didn't understand why they couldn't have told me a lot earlier. Instead of, here I am, I'm 40 years old, and I'm already a grown man, and now it's hard to go back and try to rehash a lot of things, and so I was upset. I mean, it took me a long time, to get over it. Had to go to a couple counseling things too, just to try to figure some things out. But it was a big shock. It was really a big shock to me. But I'll never forget it, because even still today, they still won't tell me who my dad is. You know, and at this point, I really don't. I don't. It doesn't. I don't. It doesn't bother me to a point to where, because I'll never forget it. I was crying one night because I couldn't understand why they couldn't tell me who my dad was, and I was bawling, crying, and all of a sudden I heard this voice, and I could hear it loud and clear. It said, "Bobby, you're gonna be okay, because you don't need to know who your father is. I'm your father."
amen.
And I knew it was God talking to me, and he said, I'm your father, and so at that point I just kind of, I moved on from there, and
That's
just
powerful.
it was, and it was, and a lot of people when I say that, they're just kind of like, oh, you're hearing things. No, I heard that voice loud and clear, and I could hear it loud and clear, and but I just got all my thoughts and all my feelings together and just kept pushing more towards the music, and do what I'm doing, which it's led to more things here. So I couldn't have chosen my path any better than what God has chosen it for me.